Hi and welcome. Today we're at Virginia State University's Randolph Farm and we're going to be talking about hobby or home greenhouses. Now many of you might think this time of the year it's cool outside, I can't do anything in my garden, but you certainly could be in a greenhouse working. It's no better place in the wintertime than being in a greenhouse in my opinion. Lots of things you can do with a hobby greenhouse. Many of you might have cold frames now, and this would be definitely a step up, where you'd be able to maybe grow your transplants. If you have a vegetable garden, you'd be able to start transplants in here earlier, much earlier actually, and if you can control the environment in here and have your transplants ready to go when the ground warms up. You could also have house plants in here that you move out to get sun during the wintertime outside of the home. You also could grow in here. You could till the ground up and grow and maybe start earlier with your vegetable garden in this structure and even extend it into the fall. So lots of things you can do with a hobby greenhouse. Kind of depends on what you want to do, what you're willing to pay in terms of heating cost. But a great thing that you can do in your yard to help your gardening project. One of the things that people ask about is can I build this myself? Where can I build it? Where do I site it? And often I'll say, yeah, you certainly can build it yourself. These things are fairly easy to build. And what you want to think about in your yard or wherever you're going to put it, you want a well-drained site that's not going to have a lot of water standing. You'd like to be away from a lot of shade trees because whatever you've got in here, you want lots of sunlight throughout the day. And you want to be close or relatively close to some things like electricity and water, because you're going to need water in here and you might need electricity for a heater or something else. So relatively easy to build, and you can do it yourself. People will also ask, well, how much does it cost? I mean, are they very expensive? Well, they can be. They can be relatively inexpensive, several $100s for maybe a smaller one, or several thousands or $10,000s of dollars to build something very elaborate. And some of the factors when you're thinking about costs are what type of floor it has. This particular one that we're standing in right now is not completely finished. We just have ground floor, but we're going to be putting ground cover over top of that and then putting river rock or stone in here as something to walk on. Sometimes people will pour concrete and put concrete down. Now, that can be very expensive. So the floor is one thing. The sheathing, the material that's on the outside, it can be a few different things. It can be polycarbonate like you see here, which is a hard plastic material. It insulates fairly well, and it's probably one of the most common types of covering that you'll see for a hobby greenhouse. You can also have plastic and glass, but those have a little more expense and a little more issues. So polycarbonate is a really good one. It comes in panels and it can easily be slid in here, and it helps with construction ease. Some of the other things that you have to think about with a greenhouse: how do I heat it? How do I cool it? Because even on a winter day, if it's bright and sunny outside, you're going to get pretty warm in here. So we have vents in here. We have vents in the roof that open up automatically. These can be bought. They don't have to require electricity, and they will open at a certain set point of temperature. So if it gets too hot, they open up. We also in here have a small vent or opening, and this vent can be manually opened. You could also hook it up to something automatic. So what happens is, as you've got vents in the roof and you've got vents on the side, you create a chimney effect which really cools the whole structure down. You can also put a heater in here because at night it gets cold, and if you've got your transplants in here and it's in the 30s or 40s outside, you're going to need to heat it. Most of the time with a small hobby greenhouse, people will put an electric type heater, and you can find these all over the place now at home improvement warehouses and big box retailers where you can, they've got thermostats on them. Another thing you could do is heat with propane and have a really nice unit heater that's exhausted to the outside, but that's going to be a little bit more expense. Always remember to check with your locality, your city or your county government, to see if there's any special building regulations that you have to build a hobby greenhouse. There might be some rules and things that you need to follow, and you might need to be able to get a permit in order to build it. So just always check with them first. One last tip that you need to think about when you are building a structure like this, think about size, and I'm going to tell you, you will always need more space. You'll always outgrow the space that you plan on. So try to build a little bit more always. It's a little easier to do that at the beginning, up front, than it is to add on to longer. Well, for more information about greenhouses, hobby greenhouses, contact your local county extension office and ask a master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.